Blog Talk Radio.
He rides on a GSX-R or a ZX-10. He rides on the freeways of life and he confronts your sin. Shotgun now, you confront the pagans. Shotgun now, you eat the vegans. Oh, shotgun now, I think you're really freaking awesome. I wish I could ride like you. I wish I had a camera like you. I wish I were like you. Oh, I wish I believed like you. Shotgun now, you can't stop him. Shotgun now, riding away from sin. Shotgun now, oh, he's long gone. Sitting in a trailer park, there's Pagan Ron. Woo-hoo-hoo!
Hey everybody, this is Shock. Let me give you the guest call-in number, 347 area code 308-8425. I see the phones are already lighting up. I'll be right with you, callers. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a war raging in America. But this is not a war between flesh and blood, but of principalities and powers. There is a war in America, ladies and gentlemen, and it is between good and evil. I'm going to give you my background. I live here in California, also known as the state of Californication. And as you know, California is going through hell right now with the liberals that have ruined our economy. You could say the liberals in Sacramento are spending money like drunken sailors, but you know, that'd be unfair to say. It'd be unfair to the sailors, because at least the sailors are spending their own money. And now we have Proposition 8. So we're going to talk about Proposition 8. Is it good? Is it evil? My background here in California, I've done some volunteer work on the suicide hotline. I've dealt a lot with the homosexual community, and I know exactly what they're feeling about Proposition 8. So we're going to talk about Proposition 8. Is it good or is it evil? First of all, let's go through some of the actual conversations that pro-Proposition 8 people will talk about and the no on 8 crowd will talk about. Now, as you know, Proposition 8 is now becoming law here in California. The majority of the voters voted it in, and in San Francisco also the judges passed it. Ken Starr, the attorney for the pro-Proposition 8 people, argued that it would be a grave injustice for the will of the majority of the people of California to be overruled. I happen to agree with them. Now, some of the no on 8 folks, and I've debated with them, I've had conversations with them. By the way, you can go to my YouTube channel at shockonnow.com, and you could also go to shockonnow.net. We have a radio show, videos, shockonnow.com. But I've done actual street face-to-face talking to the no on 8 crowd. And here's some of the things that I've heard that they have said why Proposition 8 should have failed. Number one, they'll say, well, you know, homosexuality is throughout the animal kingdom. Now, you guys know who Gavin Newsom is? Gavin Newsom was the man that pointed his finger into the TV and said, it's going to happen whether you like it or not. Now, Gavin Newsom is feeling the sting of failure because he said that at the top of his voice, and the citizens of California, they band together and they passed Proposition 8. Gavin Newsom, are you listening? You have failed. Your political career is over. Someone needs to send this audio to Gavin Newsom. But when I was talking to folks, in the No on 8 community, one of the things that they would say is, well, the animal kingdom, the animals do it. Now, what I would tell those folks is that's why they call them animals. There is no morality in the animal kingdom. We remember talking to an atheist who was showing a video of actual piranha in an aquarium, and they were not eating each other. And he was talking about how moral these piranha were, even though they did not believe in God. And then we did some research, and we found a video where the piranha were actually eating each other. Animals have no sense of good and evil, or what is right or what is wrong. So this is a mistake that the No on 8 crowd makes by pointing to the animal kingdom to talk about supporting, homosexual marriage. Now, another thing, I happen to be a Christian, and sometimes people will say, well, where does it say in the Bible that homosexuality is wrong, and isn't eating shellfish and shrimp wrong? Well, when Jesus Christ came to earth, he did change a lot of things. Number one, they did away with animal sacrifice. Number two, there used to be a wall between the Jew and the Gentile, and Jesus Christ came and he died for both of them. Now, where am I getting at with this? Well, if you go to Mark 7:18, another thing that Jesus made clean, and by the way, caller, I see you there. I'm going to be bringing you in any second here. Jesus said, don't you see that nothing that enters a man from the outside as food, this dietary law, can make him unclean? He's talking about in Mark 7:19, for it doesn't go into his heart but into his stomach and then out of his body. In saying that, Jesus declared all foods clean. So another error and mistake that the homosexual community makes is, and they've made this when I've talked to them a few times, they're like, well, what about shrimp and shellfish? Because in the Bible it said, well, Jesus, that was one of the things that Jesus went ahead and changed for the better. Now, before I bring the caller in here, and I'm going to chat with him or her, why are we doing this radio show? What I'm going to show here is real love. Love is telling the truth. And homosexuality, listen, put your ear up against the speakers. Homosexuality is sin. I'm going to say that one more time. Homosexuality is sin. Now, sometimes when we talk about sin, people are offended by it, they're sad by it. Well, Paul had to go ahead and talk about sin, Paul in the Bible. He had wrote a letter, and he talked about when he was talking to these men and women about their sin. And listen what he said. This is a great letter. And this is what I'm trying to do here with this radio show. He says, even if I caused you sorrow by my letter, I do not regret it. Though I did regret it, I see that my letter hurt you. In other words, yeah, he don't want to hurt them. He says, but only for a little while. Yet now I am happy. Why was Paul happy? Listen what Paul says. He says, not because you were made sorry, but because your sorrow led you to repentance. For you became sorrowful as God intended, and so were not harmed in any way by us. Godly sorrow brings repentance that leads to salvation and leaves no regret. But worldly sorrow brings death. When I was on the suicide hotline, I'd get so many calls from people in the homosexual community that were dying of AIDS or found out that they were HIV positive. Paul continues, he says, see what this godly sorrow has produced in you. What earnestness, what eagerness to clear yourselves, what indignation, what alarm, what longing, what concern, what readiness to see justice done. At every point you proved yourselves to be innocent in this matter. Even though I wrote it to you, it was not on account of the one who did the wrong or of the injured party, but rather that before God you could see for yourselves how devoted to us you are. In other words, he's basically saying, look, I love you guys. I'm going to tell you the truth. Let me bring the caller in here on the air. And go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hello.